How's it going, guys? Haven't done one of these for a while, but I was on stream yesterday and one of our very common viewers, Wick, suggested a Kia tier list, or at least he asked me what my top 3 favourite and top 3 least favourite killers are to face. So we're going to do that today. I'm going to go through all the killers and I'm going to rank them based on how I perceive them in terms of enjoyment and fun factor. And I'll give you the reasons why. Let's start off with Trapper. Let's make it nice and easy. A Trapper, let's put in C. Quite a firm C. Trapper for me is one of those characters that pushes forward and my least favourite things in Dead by Daylight, and that is losing to the environment. For me, a good killer, or at least a fun killer for me, is having one-on-one in the moment, a proactive skill being the dictating factor between how something happens. Trapper to me, yeah, it takes skill to know the placements and stuff like that. It takes a bit of foresight. There's skill involved, but for me, it's not enjoyable because you could run across, have absolutely like zero actual proper interaction with the killer and end up dying. And to me, that's not, for me, a fun thing to have. Right, Rafe next. Rafe, I think it's a B. It could be higher. It's just he doesn't do a whole lot. He's not very strong. His stealth, you sort of hear him coming. He's not like, he doesn't really scare you as such. He doesn't do anything to really get my heart going or make me think, oh, I'm in for a tough one here. A good Rafe though is quite dangerous, but I think it's a B for enjoyment on that one. Billy next. Now Billy's between S and A, depending on how I want to do things. But I think I'm going to go for S. Billy, he's extremely fun. He got wrongfully nerfed in a recent, I say recent, like a couple of years ago. He got changed. He's got this stupid cooldown. I don't think he needs that. All they needed back in the day was a bit of like an add-on change, and he would have been absolutely fine, absolutely great. Now there's cooldown and stuff, you don't see him half as much as you really should do. Such a fun killer. Has that ability to, as long as the map orangey is decently placed for both sides, then you can have some really good 50-50 interactions with Billy where it's purely based on you and the other player second guessing the other and figuring out what they're going to do and stuff like that. I love that part of him. Nurse next. Nurse is a tricky one. Nurse, you could easily put like A, or could easily put like D. It just depends on the player, how they want to play it. She's so strong in the right hand, she can be absolutely, you feel like you got nothing against her. I think I'll put her on B, purely because it's like half your games with Nurse are quite fun. You feel like you can have some fun little mind games, outthink them, kind of guess where they're going, and they can also do the same to you in equal measure. But then some games it's just you're absolutely demolished, or conversely you have those games of a new Nurse where you just absolutely demolish them. It's a tricky one. I think B's about right. The Nurse. Now Myers is another tricky one. Base Myers, I'll probably put like an A. The thing with Myers is add-ons completely flip what that character's able to do upside down. As soon as you start putting like the actual like really strong add-ons, Tombstone, Myers, Infinite tier 4, then tier 3, that's when he starts becoming quite oppressive in my opinion, or not really oppressive, but it's just like, you know, when you have like a certain standard and you're used to that standard, it's just so, I can't explain it. It just kind of throws me off that much when he has these add-ons that really make him viable and capable. I'm going to put him a C purely because you never know what Myers you're going to get. His add-ons are what make him strong, but also what makes him strong makes him feel so dismantled from his base power. That's what he's a C for, purely based on you never know you're going to get. The moment he gets some really strong add-ons at the moment where I'm thinking I go from expecting a certain style of game and it completely changes, and I'm not a big fan of that. But next we got Hag, my former main when I first started playing Dead by Daylight. I won't claim to be an expert of it anymore. I used to. I don't think I actually was. You always learn in hindsight that you're not as good as you really thought you were. Anyway, I think he's one of those characters where they can be very oppressive, or you can have some decentish games against her. Typically speaking, I would probably put her in the C category, probably good based on what they can do. A good hag isn't going to give you much of a chance. They're going to place traps at very good locations. They're going to trap underneath the hook. They're going to make it very difficult. And because I play a lot of solo queue, hag is really good at just demolishing solo queue players. So she's C based on those kind of variables. As you can tell, this list is all based on all about perspective and subjective variables. So good parts of what I say about one killer, those good points might be also viable for another killer, but I might say the bad. So just understand that it's all subjective and there's a lot of things going on in the head why I dislike and like killers. Anyway, next up, Doctor. I think Doctor's quite fun. A couple of add-ons make him very troublesome to deal with, where he really blocks off certain loops and stuff like that. Can be a little bit, but that's what those killers have built up those hours to learn to do, and time and stuff like that. Typically, a Doctor player can be quite fun. You get a lot of interaction with them, just the shock. They know where you are, they'll come to you. Get some good chases. The power is not completely oppressive, and typically they don't use that add-on. Our comma is called now. It just reduces the time delay between getting shocked and being able to vault over something or use something. So I'd probably say an A for me. I see a Doctor. I used to hate him, but nowadays I don't have many bad games in a Doctor, so it's probably an A. Bubba, probably put an A as well. Obviously you get the camping Bubbas, but I think that's just a meme at this point. If I get canned by a Bubba, I'm just laughing and going, okay, absolutely fine, don't mind, I find it funny, crack on. But then the other chases, they seem quite fair. There's a lot of counterplay against him and stuff like that. It can be fun, and there always seem to be characters. Ready next. He's just like, he used to be like a C. I think he's like a jack of all, too much of a jack of all trades. He had too much of too little actual input from the player. He's been nerfed a little bit now, and he's a bit more, I feel like he's underpowered now, so it's kind of like I don't dislike him based on what he's capable of doing anymore, or what he's capable of doing. You don't see him. He's there's better characters than him now. The characters do what he does, but probably better. Probably put him like a B. It's kind of refreshing to see him now. You don't see him very often, so it is quite refreshing. Pig next, I'd probably say an A. Typically have decent games. She abides by the base rules of the game. Ambush isn't that strong. Head traps can be a little bit annoying at times if you have bad RNG. But I see one. I've got no issues at all. Clown next. I know a lot of people would say like D or C based on his anti-loop potential, but I actually find him quite fun to face. I'll be honest with you. I don't go against a clown and think, oh damn, it's a clown, damn it. I think, all right, cool. You got a character here, like a player here, who wants to go into chases. So for me, that's a good thing. Like I like interaction, I like chases. Yeah, we can lessen the power of some of the tiles, but I think a lot of the time the tiles are too strong for survivors anyway, so when you have a killer that kind of nullifies that a little bit but still lets you do stuff around those tiles. I don't think he's a bad character to face. I don't find him boring. I don't get irritated by him. He does a lot right. We're next. A lot of people used to be a D or a C to face. Me, he's always like a C or a B. I did used to play with Iron Will a lot though, so that's partially why. Nowadays it's probably like a B. I don't particularly dislike her, don't particularly like her. She's there, I'll deal with her. I have no urge to want to play another match with a different killer when I'm facing her. I'm quite happy to stay in the game and deal with whatever ability of killer I'm facing. So yeah, I'll go with B. Legion next. If anyone watches them stream, they know I actually kind of love Legion. Purely because I find them one big meme of a killer, and I'll literally go into deep wound, knock it down to a little tiny bit away from me dropping the dying state, and then I'll just try and flop on the killer somewhere. So for that, potential A. Actual gameplay, probably B. Will we'll go with A. We'll go with A because I'm typically a solo queue player. When I see a Legion, I'm not going to take the game seriously, so it allows me to have a bit of fun. Plague next, probably a C. I just don't enjoy her. I just find her. I just find it irritating. Like, I think she's a very unique and interesting killer, but I just find the power underwhelming. I find having like items completely nullified or perks being nullified based upon a base killer power a little bit. I get it, and it makes sense for the killer power, but for me, I don't like the concept of say I've just gone and stuck on like a purple med kit with all sorts of stuff. Yeah, it's probably overpowered. Don't get me wrong, I'm not going to deny that. But having the potential of me completely having that item that I've spent blood points on a very grindy game, I might add. Think about having nullified, potentially dying, so I might even lose the whole medkit, not just the add-ons. Kind of not a good feeling. Trickster D, just Trickster is a character that, in my eyes, has never belonged in Dead by Daylight. Aesthetically, I know a lot of you Trickster fans are going to be annoyed by that word straight after that. Aesthetically, I didn't really get him. I thought his power was very Dynasty Warriors. He's very like Devil May Cry. He's like, hey, I've got to fit 500 million knives in my top. Bang, 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 bang. So I was thrown out. No. I know Plague vomits and stuff like that, but at least that's sort of like it seems like a supernatural kind of power, you know. It's like very exorcisty, you know what I mean? I know Doctor throws shock, but you know, it kind of makes sense what he was. And I know Trickster's got a backstory to himself, why he throws knives, he's quick and all that. But for me, it's a very underwhelming power. It's something that I've played before on different games, hack and slash games. He's a hack and slash player, and the games when I play against him, I feel like I'm playing a tower defense game as the enemy rather than the actual towers. He's just there just throwing things, I'm just there trying to dodge it. It's like, it's not Dead by Daylight to me. I don't enjoy it. The moment I see him or hear that terror race, I'm just literally inside and going off. I don't want to. I just don't want to deal with him. He just bores me. He bores me, irritates me. I don't like his look. I don't like the way he throws all these knives. I don't like the fact that he's throwing knives. I think it's a very uninspired weapon. And yeah, I've played Dynasty Warriors. I don't need to play against Trickster. Huntress next. Huntress. Solid S. Solid S. It's a character where as long as RNG, again like Billy, RNG is in the match where it's like a 50-50 between killer and survivor, and the tiles are all kind of set out in a nice kind of way, both sides. It's that 50-50 potential to see who will win, and that kind of dictates the outcome. I like it when actual skill-based inputs from both sides dictate the outcome, and for me, Huntress, like Billy, is that kind of character where that will happen. Ghostface next, I'd probably say A. I think he's close to being S tier for me. I find him fun, I find him enjoyable. I like his stealth, adds a little bit of variety to normal games. You can stalk you, so there's that potential of only like 99. So something to think about in the back of your mind. Do you take a hit for this your teammate to get that whatever it's called back down to 0, or do you go away? There's a lot of variables to Ghostface I think a lot of people don't take into consideration. I find him very, very fun, and that's why he's mainly an A. He obeys all the rules of the game, and there's a little bit more to him than like say a Wraith. So yeah, he's good fun, and of course the fact that I can teabag people adds a little bit of that extra layer of enjoyment there you can have. He's always like Ghostface are typically characters like Bubba's, like the cannibal. There's usually a character behind that killer. You can see the personality kind of shining through. Demogorgon next, solid A. Strong, balanced, does a lot right, has a lot going for him. A lot of interactions with him, stuff like that. His power can be mind game, can be worked around, but likewise they can mind game you and work around you. Great character, synergize well with a lot of perks and stuff like that. Fun, enjoyable, engaging, great. Potentially, in my opinion, probably one of the top 1 or 2 best made killers. I know that shouldn't suggest they should be on S tier, but for me, love his design. I think it's a good balance between the killer being able to have fun and the survivor being able to have fun. Great killer. Oni next, and I'd probably say A or a B. It's very add-on dependent here. We'll go A. Oni fun, like Billy. A lot of time it can be like survivor and killer. They're skill inputs can kind of dictate how things go with Oni. So against a grey Oni, you're going to struggle. Against a new Oni, you got chances and it can be like a bit of a cakewalk. And against that kind of average Oni, it's a good 50-50 balanced match usually. I don't think I need to say more. I like him. Deathslinger next. I'd probably go with B. He used to be more of a C and a D kind of character, but nowadays you don't see him very often. The fact that he can't quickscope is a great thing. Doesn't do a lot to really annoy me. I think that's a fair one. Middle of the road. Don't dislike him. I don't have a sort of negative connotations towards him. So yeah, I'd say like a B. Pyramid Head next. Oh, God, it's a tricky one because I could so easily go B, I could so easily go C. I'll probably go C. I think I'll go C. Similar to like Deathslinger, the way his power works, it's that old M2, M1 kind of you don't give the survivor a chance kind of concept that Demogorgon can do as well. I've never really been a huge fan of that. I find Pyramid Head to be the worst culprit of it though. Him and Nemesis I'd probably say. And also he can hold down and hit several people when unhooking and stuff like that, which can be a little bit, if the camping and stuff like that can be a little bit. But generally he's alright. I don't particularly dislike him too much, but at the same time my games tend to veer towards less favourable in terms of enjoyment. And I don't particularly know why, that's just what he is, so I've got to put him down to C based on how I feel about him right now. Blight. See, you could easily say that Blight should be up in like A tier, because he's like very similar to Oni, really in terms of that interaction. But where I dislike Blight is the killer power, or how he used to be. So at his actual introduction to the game, he was a pinball killer based on straight line, bouncing off and trying to hit people on angles. That's what he's about. He's a very unique killer, completely different to anything we've had before. And yeah, people struggle to master him and stuff like that. And they had many people complain that he's too hard to play. Blah blah blah. So then the dev goes, okay, we'll change him a little bit. So they've adjusted some of his values so now he can almost bend around corners. They're taking away one of his main bonuses right now. I can't think what it's called right now, but basically he could look directly down at a wall and you could slide around it and kind of zoom into something. That was really, really stupid. Absolutely dumb. I'm one of those people that do not agree with that whatsoever. I liked his original iteration, that very unique version of him that was completely different to Hillbilly, where Hillbilly can bend around corners. To me, he should have been the king of that, but Blight became the king of that. But he gets it for very minimal. You have to just hit up an object and you can bend around something. Not a fan. Hillbilly, so they're going to rev up his chainsaw, and he slows down loads doing it. Blight now, whoosh, whoosh, bang, hit you. Not a fan. I don't like his concept anymore. I think he's completely lost where he should be. But I respect anyone who likes him for what he is nowadays. That's what opinion's about. My opinion, not a fan. Twins. You see, I want to put them higher because there's a very good Twins player, as a lot of us will know, Linksy, who plays them in the right way. Has a lot of fun with them, goes for long range Victor pounces, but the vast majority play them in such a scummy kind of way, or a very bare basic. You can play Twins in two ways. You can play them very expansive and try and do a lot of fun things with them, or you can play in the most minimalistic way possible, where you see that you can move Charlotte this kind of distance away from the hook that you've just hooked a survivor on, then camp there with Victor. You can do that. So then a lot of survivors go, oh, I'm going to do that, and that's the gameplay. Whereas some people play expansively and they're fun to face, but the fun Twins players are 1% of the entire Twins player base, in my opinion. It obviously is just a figure of pulled out of me, out of my backside here, but for me that's what it feels like. She's got to be a D, or they've got to be a D because of that. my games against twins are so... I just don't enjoy them. I think aesthetically as well, if you go back to aesthetics, I think they're just probably the least scary looking killer. I think they're the least intimidating looking killer, the least killer looking killer. They're just... It's like, you shouldn't ever insult someone based on looks, but I think when you put a killer in that looks like a walking scrotum that's been beat up with a bamboo stick a million times over and then microwaved, I'm not a big fan of that. And that's what Charlotte looks like. I'm very sorry, Charlotte. I do apologise. Nemesis next. Nemesis for me is probably a... Could easily put them A. We'll put them a B. I think that blows them down. You saw that when you get to like tier 3, they can be a little bit obnoxious when you actually are being chased by them. But is that enough to put them in B? No, it's not. I'll put them A. I don't care. I'll put them A. I have so many fun matches against Nemesis. I know a lot of people dislike them based upon some of the reasons why I gave for like Pyramid Head, where it's like M2, M1, you know, you can't do anything, you're going to always kind of lose in this situation. But there's so much fun, and like the zombies added a whole new layer to games, you know, you can have a lot of fun around it, you know. You can meme around, have a bit of a laugh, give the zombies names. I love it. It's great. It's great. Forget about me putting them in B to start with. They're in A. I've decided they're in A. Simple as that. Pinhead next. When he first came out, I started playing against him. He was a full-on D because everyone was using Ruin. And getting chain hunted while Ruin's in play just seemed like a completely ridiculous idea. Unfun, unengaging, uninteractive, and annoying enough to make me just want to not play the game. Thankfully, you don't see many pinheads play with Ruin these days, or at least the games I've played recently they haven't done. So then he's going up a little bit in the tier list here, a little bit more higher. Now I've started to become that person who just goes around looking for the box the entire. That's literally what I do now against Pinhead. I go looking for the box, stop the chain hunts, and have a bit more fun against him. I'd probably say a B. Don't dislike him. Don't like him. Middle of the road. Artist next. I'll probably put him a C. I just find them irritating. Main effects wise, no. The way they look doesn't really engage me very much, I'll be honest with you. The power completely nullifies a lot of loops and makes you hold W and run away. No, I'm not a big fan. I think the kind of ruin parts of the game, not for me. Sadako, is it? I don't. Sudoku, as I was saying yesterday. Sadako. I'll give up. Right, I think they're an A. They do a lot of things right. They're fun. Add another layer to the game. We have to, you know, work around your condemned. But I've never actually faced a one of these killers that uses condemned very well. I always seem to have 0 condemned for the entire match, it seems like. But the fun, the catch you off guard very easily. Good bit of fun. Good stealth-based killer. But sadly, overdone a bit by Dredge. But I find Dredge middle of the road. Or a C. It's very, very 50-50 right now. They're new. Trying to kind of work them out. Had a recent game yesterday against one that was trying to like mind game by putting like the teleport thing down around the cow loop, and I found that very like spirity, very hag-like gameplay. And obviously, I'm not a big fan of hag playing against them. Spirits middle of the road. I find it very kind of like been there, done that. I was hoping it did a little bit different. There's a few little mind games to try. I can see. That don't look the best in my opinion. They're not a very scary looking killer. I think they could have done a lot better with his design. It is like I said a few streams ago, a lot of people say turkey, but I like them too, like an ostrich and a squid getting together, doing the funky and making some sort of evil, weird child thing. We'll put them in B purely because I haven't quite grasped how to play against them too much just yet. Don't get me wrong, I'm not losing many games against them, but I think I've still got a lot to learn from them. Anyway, that's my tier list. That's how I see things. If these killers come up, the S and the A, I'm kind of happy. I'll keep on playing. More than happy to. Gets to B or below, I'm starting to kind of go, yeah. But as you can see, that's where my enjoyment lies in Dead by Daylight. Of course, we've got this weird one here, Michael Myers, who could easily be an A, C or a D based on what add-ons he's running. We've left him in C. That's the only kind of one I ain't too sure of. But thanks for watching the video, guys. Appreciate that. I hope you enjoyed it. Something a little bit different. I haven't done one for a while. And yeah, let me know what you think down below in the comments. Do you agree with the list? Is it the kind of list that you would do yourself, or would you change a few people around? What are your biggest surprises? Who do you think I've unfairly reviewed? Let me know why. Take care, yourselves, guys. See you in the next one. Bye bye.